Hi, I'm Kelly from J Jewellery. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this cute ring. It's got a nice band on this one, quite a nice tight weave. I used a slightly thinner weaving wire. I've put a list of everything you'll need in the description below. Quick shout out to my patrons. Really appreciate you guys. I'll put all your names on the screen. Thanks for your continued support, and if you'd like to support me, nip on over to Patreon and have a look at all the different tiers that are available. So to make this ring you'll need 0.8mm wire, which is 20 gauge, and I've cut 3 lengths at 9 inches, which is 23 centimetres. I've got some weaving wire. I went for the slightly thinner weaving wire today, so it looks smaller on the ring band, so I'm going for 0.25mm, which is 30 gauge. Feel free to go a step up, so you're going to go to 0.315, which is 28 gauge, will be absolutely fine. I've wound mine onto my bobbin, so if you're using the thicker wire you probably won't need as much. This is a Bobeeze bobbin by Beadsmith. You just wrap your wire onto there and that sits down by your side. It just makes it easier for working with the longer lengths, so if you have one of those you can wind it onto there. If you don't worry. Next, so I've got a little bead. My bead is 6mm. And of course you need to make sure that your base wire can go through your bead, so check your bead hole size. I'll be making a ring size 8, that's what I'm aiming for. So if you're making a much bigger size than that, you can add a few inches onto your wire just in case. So you're going to need a mandrel for today, and the way we work out our size, the way we're going to do it roughly is, so you work out what size you want, you take your measuring tape and you measure around the size. Now this is just rough, this is a rough guess to get you started, and then you can keep going back to the mandrel to make sure the size is what you want it to be. So this is going to say 6 centimetres. The middle piece will be about 1 centimetre. So my beginning weave needs to be 5 centimetres for a size 8 ring, and then once I've done that I can put it on the mandrel and then keep coming back to it to get the size right. Do you know what I mean? So you'll need your mandrel and you'll need to keep going back to it throughout. So I'm just using my standard tools today. All my tools are Tronex, and I'll put a list of everything in the description below. So I've got my needle nose, pliers, round nose, cutters, nylon pliers. If you don't have nylon pliers, don't worry. I just like having these handy for just flattening the weave and keeping everything nice and straight. But I will put a list of all these in the description below. All my wire is dead soft, bare copper. So I buy my base wires from Metal Clays for you because I'm in the UK. And I buy my weaving wire from Scientific Wire Company. Metal Clays don't go thin enough on the weaving wire, and Scientific Wires, I don't like their base wires because they're too tough. Too tough for my delicate little fingers. So I buy from both. So there you go, now you know. So get your mandrel and your tape and work out the rough length that you need your band to be as I just described. So if mine's going to be 5 centimetres, take your base wires, position your thumb centrally along those wires, and we're going to put this weave centrally onto your wires. So if mine's going to be 5, I'm going to go 2.5 right in the middle of the wires there, and that's where I'm going to start weaving, so that length of weave is central on your wires. That's all we're aiming for. So find your own starting point. We'll start with 3 wraps around the bottom wire. So we're going to go over the whole thing. We're going to come up between the top 2 wires. We go around the top wire. We come up between the the bottom two, sorry, we go around the second wire, we go around the bottom wire, and then we go over the top, coming up between the top two wires. Can you see the repeat? And then we go around each wire on the way down. So that's our repeat. Over all of the wires, coming up between the top two, around the top wire, come up between the bottom two, around the middle wire, around the bottom wire, and then push that together. As you're making this weave, you may notice when you push it together, this hand tends to push a bit more and your weave may slide along a little bit more. So at the end, you just need to make sure you push your weave back down a bit. So do your 5 centimetres and then wriggle it along, or however long your weave's going to be, and then wriggle it along a bit so it's back to being central on those wires. So keep going until you've got that band length that you worked out. So I've done my 5 centimetres of weave. So do whatever you worked out. I've got 9 centimetres on each end, so just make sure it's nice and central. It is a bit awkward if you have to push it along. It does get stuck in places. So we'll cut the wire from the beginning only. Don't cut the other end just yet. Press that little cut end down, and then you can always, after you've got it on your mandrel, you can add more repeats if you need to. So we'll do that. So carefully bring your weave around your mandrel, and you want to pull it nice and tight. And we need it's about a centimetre and a half across the middle. But if you have a look at that now and work that out now to what size you want, that's the gap you've got to keep in the middle there. I would like it to be about a centimetre. I know I always end up with it a little bit bigger, but that's my goal. And then we can keep going back to the mandrel as we go. So now I know my weave is the right length, I can cut that wire. I already did finish with 3 wraps around a single wire, so do that so your wraps don't come undone. Finish with 3 wraps and then cut that and press down that little cut end with your pliers. Really do press down those little ends because you don't want any sharp bits. So I'm going to pull these forward a little bit, because on these wires here, this bottom one, I want it to go above here. On the other 2, I want to go over there. Now, I have already thought about this, and I've thought about trying to do it the other side. So bear with me. I think this is the right way. So we take these, pull them out. So pull them all forward for now. We'll get it back on the mandrel in a minute. So these wires are going to come up here in quite a sharp angle like that, and this one is coming over to the other side. That's going to have our bead on it, and these wires are going to come, making sure your weave is all compressed together, over to this side like that. Little bit different this one. I was walking the dog when this design came to me, and I'm hoping it's going to work. We'll see. If you're watching this video, then it worked. You're obviously not watching the last one that I deleted, so better luck with this one. So I'm just making sure I've got my sizing right. It's not important at this stage, but we will keep doing that throughout. Next, we're going to take these 2 wires here that we've bent over to the side. Hold your weave really tightly. You don't want your weave to move. Grip your wires. We're bending the wires only. We don't want the weave to bend. We want to keep the weave where it is. Bend the wires over the back, which you want them really flat. Carefully press it down, bring those wires out to the side. Gonna do the same with these. So I think I'm going to take them over one at a time. Then it's not so stressful, is it? So grip each wire, bend it over without bending the weave over. You want the weave to be straight. And then in a bit we'll find out if this works. There we go. And then these will come out this side, like so. So now we need to get it back on the mandrel. Get it to your size, get it nice and straight. Give it a good squeeze around to the size that you want. So next we'll pop our bead on that middle wire. And this needs to be pretty central. On the one I just made, it went right off to the side and it was a nightmare. So get it nice and central. Push your wire over to the other side. And we'll attach that now so we don't have a nightmare with it in a bit. So this wire I'm going to attach to this side and then I'm just going to cut it off. And I'm thinking if we can go through that bit there and get it nice and tight on the edge, that will be ideal. So I'm going to cut a little bit off to make it a bit easier to handle. I'm going to take that end through that gap there. Is this a silly idea? Let's find out. Right, I'm through. And I'm going to wiggle it through. And I'm sure I've pulled it apart a bit, so I'm just going to double check the size. And then while it's on the mandrel, I'm just going to pull it so it's right. I want the bead central. I want this wire to be nice and tight, like that. Leave that there for now, just for a minute. Right, what's next? I've got a new tutorial out. It's now on my website and in my Etsy shop. This one's a written tutorial, so it's got like 70 odd pages and hundreds of pictures for you to follow along at your own pace. Something a bit different. Okay, let's carry on with the video. Thanks for looking. I think I'm going to cut that wire and just pop it over there. She says casually like it's easy to do. We'll just cut that off and pop it over there behind those wires. I don't normally finish wires to the back on rings, but that could go nicely behind there. So I'm determined this is going to be a size 8. So I'm just checking it again and it still fits. So next I'm going to add some coils just to make this front bit a bit more interesting. I'm going to take this wire and I'm going to add coils. So get your weaving wire. Yeah, so this one, and I'm just going to take my time, add a bunch of coils and push it down. I'll do a little bit to start with. And then we'll add some more in a bit. So I've done a little bit, about 1.5 centimetres from the beginning. Push that end down while we can still get to it. Slide that down as far as it'll go. Lovely, it's gone all the way down. So we'll take the coiled wire first. And what we want to do is I've pushed them back a little bit. Holding it against the weave, we're going to bring it over the side so it comes over and then it scoops around like that. So it's come over the weave and then like that to be in line with that wire there. And then we take the next wire, we want to do the same thing, trying to hold it at the back there so it doesn't move out too much. We want to come straight over the weave and then scoop it around so it lies next to that one, like that. Really press them down against the weave there. And then take your weaving wire and we're just going to wrap around the two wires just to attach them together. And then we'll carry on adding coils to this single wire. So come up between the two and just take your time for a minute and add a bunch of coils onto this wire. It's got to reach over to the other side. You've got to make sure that bead stays in the centre. And this needs to reach to the other side of the bead. So add a bunch of coils and keep pushing it together as you go. Please mention me when sharing your finished work online. I'll tell you now before I forget because I always do. Kelly Jones Design, I really appreciate you mentioning me and I would love to see all your finished work. Please tag me. Tag me if you're on Facebook or Instagram. I'm on TikTok as well. So I've added a bunch of weaves. I may have added too much. Wraps, I mean. I've added a bunch of wraps. Might have done too many. But it doesn't matter because we can take them off or add more. So get your bead nice and central again. And we're going to take this wire around to this side. We're going to bring this wire around. But I'm going to have a bit of a gap, I think, make it a bit spaced out. Give it a bit of a hair. So we'll bring those two wires together there, I think. I want a gap between them. And then we can join them around that middle wire. Keeping your bead nice and central the best you can. And then hold those wires and we're going to take them around the middle there. If you know you've got enough wraps, you can cut that off. We're just going to finish these around here so you can cut them. because that's going to be a nightmare. And you can bend those around. Oh, everything's getting in the way, hold on. So make sure the wire is where you want it to be. Because I want a gap between those wires. And pinch the wire around. So the first wire I'm going to finish, like you know when you close a jump ring and it just meets. I'm just going to do that with the first one. So I'm just going to close that one up around the back there. It's hard to get to and it's hard to show you as well, but I'm just going to bend that end around so it meets, like you would close a jump ring. So it just meets at the back there. Can you see it? Yay. And then the second one, I'm going to take around again. So holding that so it doesn't pull too, because I still want that gap there. We'll go slow. Just take it really slowly. And we go around again. Fold it out of place a little bit. So I'm pressing it back against the band, and I need it to be at this angle here. So we're going to do something similar with the other side. So take these wires. I think I'm going to, oh that's Gracie making all the noise by the way, if you didn't know. Gracie's my little pug, I'll put a picture of it on the screen. Push them back a little bit there. I think I'm going to add coils to the middle one just to make it a little bit different. So take your weaving wire, take your time, and we'll add a bit to start with, and then we can attach them together like we did with the other side. So I've done 1.5 centimetres. I'm going to cut that wire. And press that cut end down. Slide it down. Push it to the back as far as it'll go. And we'll start with this one. I don't want them too far down the band really. So we bring it over to the other side, push it against the band, and that is going to scoop around so it comes just under those wires and under the bead there. Then we take the coiled one, we go straight over the band, bring it around, following quite tightly. Then we got the third one, bring him over too, push it against the band, bring it around so they're all in a nice line, they all meet. Then take your weaving wire and we'll go around all three a couple of times. I'm going to go over the second wire, come up between the bottom two, and then we can carry on adding coils to that middle wire. Oh, I won't say it. fiddlesticks, that's what I was going to say. I wasn't going to say a bad word. So we're just going to keep adding coils to this middle wire. Until we reach, so we need to reach to this side. So we're going to keep adding coils until we're roughly in that kind of area. And then we can add or take when we get there. So add coils and keep pushing them down. And if it breaks, don't worry, just tie it back on, carry on. So I'm sure I've done too much. I'm sure I've said that for the other side too. Oh, and I need to cut all those bits off from the break. So what we're going to do, we're going to shape around the bead. And we're going to attach to this bit of wire here. So I'm just going to make sure we've got plenty of room, because we've got to attach 3 wires onto there. So that's my first one. This is the one we need to adjust the wraps on. So we need to undo some of those wraps. And then this one, I'm going to have a nice gap between the wires. And that's going to attach in there too. I need to tidy up. I need to cut these wires off and press them down. I need to undo those coils. I could do the attaching the first wire first. So we'll do one at a time. I'm going to attach this one first, and I'm going to wrap around as if I'm going to finish a jump ring. So I'm just going to go around like and meet it at the back rather than going around and around. We haven't got much wire space. So I'm going to pull it away. I'm going to curl that end around. And then gently try and push it back into place, feeding it around that wire. So that's going to come around quite tightly like that. I'm going to cut it quite short and then just pull it around and meet it at the back of that wire there. And then the next one is going to go next to it. I need to undo a few coils and then wrap that one around the same, and I'll finish that like a jump ring too, so we'll cut that quite short. And then feed that in and get that one in place like that. So I want a gap with this one, and I want to bring the wire up a little bit like that, so we've got that kind of gap. And I've got to get it in there. I think I'm gonna take the whole wire through, because this could be a bit of a wriggle. Oh, I've got a short bit there. So I'm gently feeding this wire through, and I'll try and get that nice shape back. That's it. That's more like what I want. A nice gap. And then when it's where you want it, bend it. Bend this wire forward. And because it's the last wire, I'm just going to take it around there again. So now you've got to be careful you don't pull on it, because that'll lose that gap, and just gently feed that around there. And then just gently squeeze it around in place. Lovely. These wires have lifted up a little bit, so I'm just going to push them over the weave there. I noticed that earlier actually. They were trying to lift up earlier. So as we are adjusting the ends, we do pull on this side a little bit. So check that that one's lifted as well. Check that your wires are still in shape around the sides, and you must be ever so careful that you don't mark your wires, and if you do, get the old trusty nail buffer out and give them a little buff. Try not to go across your weaving wire. I always use a nail buffer to get the tool marks out. I keep saying wire marks, I mean tool marks. Really pleased with that. It looks a bit like an eye, and my bead's got a line like a bit of a snake eye. I shall go and oxidise, and I'll show you what it's like. Before I forget, pop it back on the mandrel. Oh, mine's going to struggle. Am I going to get to an 8? Just about. Give it a good squeeze on there. Make sure it's definitely that size. I think you just have to keep going back to it all the way through, and that's the only way you can guarantee the size. So if you have reached it to the end of the video, I'm just going to quickly show you the ring that didn't make it, because while I was making this one, I do tend to make a few that go a bit crazy. This is what it was going to be. I had this cute little shape going on here, and then I changed it. And of course you can't change it when you're doing a video, you've got to do it all in one go. So I failed with it a little bit, and my bead wasn't central. But I like how it turned out. If you would like to see a tutorial for this one, let me know below, and I can always redo it. I don't know if I like it, but yes, that one failed. But I thought I'd show you if you've made it to the end of the video. So there we have it, finished. I've oxidised mine. If you'd like help oxidising yours, I've done videos on oxidising and aftercare. I'll put links in the description below. I hope you managed to follow this tutorial okay and it didn't cause too much confusion. Thanks for watching. I love having you all here and hearing how you got on in the comments. Please tag me when sharing your work. I'd love to see what you've made, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye for now. That's how that other one came out. Bye for now. Bye.